Alright guys, welcome back. GM Light here. Today we're going to be talking about the future of the Saw franchise, what's going to be going on, what's going to be happening after Saw X, and honestly the direction that it probably should go in my opinion. It's a really long running franchise. We're on to the 10th movie, Saw X, and I have a lot of thoughts. I'm a huge fan of the Saw franchise. I've been a fan for years. I really enjoy all these movies. I'd say there's maybe two that I'm lukewarm to maybe negative on, but even then I can still kind of enjoy them in their own way. But this is a franchise where not me, but a lot of people feel burned out, tired of it. They just want it to kind of die. And as a fan, something that's kind of frustrating to me is that it feels like after they quit the serialization, once they ended with the final chapter and they came back with Jigsaw and then Spiral, feels like each attempt is a launching pad, an attempt to kind of relaunch the franchise, start a new trilogy, start a new franchise with a new apprentice or whatever. Jigsaw was pretty financially successful, but it didn't get the public response that I think the studio wanted for them to proceed, go forward, and kind of continue with that storyline. And then Spiral, which was a totally different, unique thing. I believe it was the second lowest, or maybe even the lowest grossing Saw movie. I really enjoyed it. I'd honestly put it as one of my favorite Saw movies, but I think it alienated a lot of people, didn't work for a lot of people. And what I think could have been a really interesting setup for a new Saw series with new characters and kind of focusing on Chris Rock's character and this new Jigsaw, it all could have been really interesting. I found that dynamic and that dichotomy between them really interesting, but it didn't seem like there was enough interest garnered for that to really be justified, unfortunately. So now they're kind of just taking it back to basics. They got a little scared, so now they're going back to Jigsaw. They're going back to the standard shit. They're bringing Tobin Bell back for one last time. And kind of my thoughts with this is that on one hand, I'm really happy to see Tobin Bell back one last time as Jigsaw. I love him as this character. It's always enjoyable to watch. He's a very interesting character, and I honestly think that one of the biggest regrets probably with the franchise is that they killed him too damn early. We're on the 10th movie, and he died in Saw 3, and now they're trying to dredge him back up again by making this prequel. And this is something that the series has had to work around really since that third movie. Even with Jigsaw, they played around with the timeline and kind of tried to make you think that maybe he actually is still alive, but it was just a big elaborate plot twist. And this kind of feeds into what I think that they should do. They're clearly not done with this character. He's clearly a big draw. He's very iconic in his own right, and although I really enjoyed Spiral, I think that there's a future for Saw outside of Jigsaw himself. What I think that they should do is let Saw X be the last of this continuity. Now, Tobin Bell is about 80 years old, and he's been playing this character for nearly 20 years. I don't think he wants to keep doing this forever. I'm pretty sure that Saw X is probably the last time he wants to do this, and how much more elaborate and convoluted can you make the timeline? Because every time you bring him back, you have to go back into the past and shoehorn a story somewhere in between the movies, sometime before some of the movies. It just feels like it's getting to be way too much to keep track of, way too much with the timeline, and just bringing back the character in and of itself has become a bit of a drag. So what they should do is, I think that they should reboot. I think that they should go for a new continuity, recast Jigsaw with a really unique choice. I think that you need to bring someone on who has a lot of intensity about him. I wouldn't want someone to do a Tobin Bell impersonation. I'd want them to really make the role and the character their own, because with such a layered character, if you just give that performance and really lean into it, cast someone who's just perfectly adept to handle that role, you could have an awesome movie. They could go really outside the box with the casting, maybe pick someone really unexpected, maybe even someone a little younger. But as long as they match the layers that the original Jigsaw has, I think that the reboot would be fine. I think part of the problem and why the public is losing interest with the Saw franchise is that it doesn't seem like it really wants to evolve past what it was. They're too afraid to leave Jigsaw. They're really too afraid to do anything unique. And then I think that with Spiral, when they did try something different, they did try something unique, the fact that that movie sort of backfired on them makes them even more afraid to do anything different, and it made them backpedal and convince Tobin Bell to come back one last time, and they just want to play it safe. As a fan, I'm not complaining. I'm always happy to watch these movies. I will every time. I always enjoy myself. I always find myself interested in whatever they plan on doing, but this almost feels like I'm having to cover for it because I'm talking purely about it in the respect that public's losing interest. These movies are becoming diminishing returns. a lot of the conversation around them is that they should have ended a long time ago. I disagree with it. I would take 100 Saw movies. I literally don't care. It's one of those franchises where I don't really get sick of it. Whenever a new one comes out, I don't roll my eyes and say, oh, another one. There are a lot of franchises where I do have that fatigue. I do feel that. Saw just isn't one of them. They could release literally 50 of them. I'd be there every time opening night and I would be happy. But I'm worried that if they don't develop things, change things up, there won't be longevity to the franchise. Another thing too, they use a lot of the same people to direct these movies. And Saw X is no exception. Even Spiral is no exception. The guy who directed Spiral actually directed Saw 2, 3, and 4. In my opinion, 2 and 3 are some of the best of the series. Spiral's one of the best of the series, but the fact that they went back and picked a director who's already established the tone and kind of the visual look of this franchise, it makes it hard for it to really break out fully. And it seems like a lot of people who did have disappointment with Spiral was coming from the fact that it didn't feel different enough. And since the director of Saw X, Kevin Gruder, did Saw 6 and 7, I don't think that people's fears are going to be quelled enough by that. Me personally, I'm happy with it. I think Saw 6 is one of the better ones. Saw 7 I enjoy, but it's not one of my favorites. But again, it's just the studio. They want to go back to the same people. They want to do the same things. They always want Tobin Bell back, like the fact that they killed him off in the 3rd movie. And it's just a problem of not growing, evolving. I think they'd have to do something wildly different in this reboot to get people back on board and get them interested. And I'm feeling like one of the few people that is genuinely excited for Saw X. I'm a little worried for it. I think that it probably should move because, in my opinion, Five Nights at Freddy's coming out on the same day, it's gonna wipe the floor with Saw. You have a video game property that's one of the most anticipated adaptions of the year, and then you got the 10th Saw movie where a lot of people checked out a long time ago. I'm gonna be seeing both as soon as they open, but a lot of people don't have that same mentality, and a lot of people don't have that love for Saw that I do. But this is something that I thought was interesting, something I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Saw have ended. Should Saw end after Saw X? What should they do in a reboot? Should they reboot? Should they just keep going and make Tobin Bell play Jigsaw till he's 90? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. Have a good one.